Hello? Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're there.
Hey, you got this microphone working for once.
The first time ever.
I gotta say, man, you're not very good at this sometimes, Andrew.
Well, see what happens.
Are you frustrated too, or is it just me?
I think it's actually just you. You're just really
He's just
mean.
really hard on me.
God.
Oh, there we go.
I need to call HR.
My panties are in a bunch, all bunched up,
If we had an HR,
wadded up.
HR is Mark.
yeah,
want a problem?
that's
Come to
the
me.
problem.
Hold on, let me check with HR. They said to go fuck.
Oh my gosh.
They said to eat shit, is what they said.
Again?
Hey, this is going to be amazing having Hafthor on the podcast today.
Yes, sir.
But you know, we always flip flop with the things that we like, and we're talking about the Piedmontese and steaks and stuff like that. And you know, I feel like I get a different answer from you guys every single week on what's your favorite, and I feel like my own answers are really shaky. But I have been obsessed with the bavette steak from Piedmontese. It's just too lean, it's too tender, it's too amazing. That's the one I'm hooked on right now. How about you guys?
It's honestly been really hard for me to, at this point, tell the biggest difference between the bavette and the ribeye, because I really like the ribeye, but the bavette, it's like, it seems like it's a little bit fattier. I'm not sure, but I don't think it actually is fattier, right?
No, that's the thing. That's why I called it the best diet steak, because that whole thing only has 8 grams of fat. I don't know how many ounces that is, but for damn near 100 grams of protein,
I think
it doesn't make any sense.
I want to say that sounds accurate. It's like, yeah, it's like 8 grams of fat. And I forget what the protein amount is per serving or whatever. But
96.
Yeah, if you eat the whole thing, yeah, it's 96 grams of protein straight to your biceps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's so filling. It's so tender, so delicious. It does have a little bit like of a fattier feel, but it's still lean. I don't know what they did to those cows over there in Nebraska, over at Piedmontese.com. If you guys are interested, please head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest coming up.
The Mountain.
The Mountain.
I'm really excited for this. You know, I think that this is a huge event going on in strongman, this 501 kilogram deadlift that this guy is going to be going for. Man, he looks.
What's up, guys?
Oh my God!
Can
you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Should I have my phone on side or do I look like this? Is this okay or?
Maybe it's locked to being sideways. Maybe you gotta unlock it.
Let's see. How's this?
That's good. Yeah, that's better. We can see your face now.
That is fantastic.
Okay. How are you guys?
We're doing amazing. How are you doing? You feeling good? Training looks like it's going unbelievable for you.
Yeah, I'm doing well. You know, I'm just staying focused, making sure everything is on point. Training has been going, you know, very well. Can't complain. Even though things could be better, considering the world right now with the COVID-19 and everything, this lockdown is obviously not helping. I haven't been able to, you know, do all the physio that I would like to do, but still, you know, my body's holding up fine. I'm doing my hot and cold treatments, you know, every day, so that helps a lot. And I'm also just trying to treat myself as good as possible.
How do you stay focused with all the noise, especially with this particular deadlift, this particular event? There's more noise than ever. Like, how are you concentrating on this moment?
You know, for me, it's easy. I thrive out of, you know, the negativity that comes along. For me, it's actually like a motivation when I have people that doubt me, or you know, that even pushes me harder. So it actually just it's helping me, which is great. It makes me be even more obsessed with everything, even though it's almost not possible, because I feel like I'm absolutely on point with everything. It's still just like, you know, like I think I'm doing everything I can to be in the best shape possible May 2nd.
Can you kind of tell us how a lot of this unfolded? Like my understanding is that you finished up your training for the Arnold, you won the Arnold once again, and then you were planning on, hitting this deadlift. You were going to go and compete and do it at a regular event. And then so how did this part come to be of you, trying this 501 kg deadlift out of competition?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like all of strength fans know, people that have been training, you guys know that when you peak for something, especially something big like this, you don't want to, I've been hearing people comparing this to the Olympics. You can't compare the things. You can't compare those things together because it's like completely two different sports. I was aiming on peaking for Bahrain. That was supposed to happen, actually already. But because of COVID-19, that got postponed, or they don't even have a date yet for that. So I spoke to the organizer of that event, the World's Ultimate Strongman, and asked if they would be willing to host the event in Iceland, where I could actually, try and break the record here. And they thought that was a brilliant idea. It would be cool for the people at home that are in lockdown. It would be cool to bring something awesome like this for them, which I agreed with. And we have been doing everything in our power to make it as legit as possible. In my opinion, it's even harder to do something that incredible in a gym rather than competition. When you compete, you thrive with the crowd, with the adrenaline rush. That gives you the extra, push that you need. Doing this by myself almost, I'll have, camera people there. I have a doctor there. I have Magnusson 4-time world man refereeing me, having just these few peoples, but, not the spectators that, will give you the extra rush you need. All top level athletes, they know that, competing in front of crowds, that gives you, definitely like extra 10% power. So honestly, I'm a little bit worried, that I don't have that, but at the same time, I'm excited,
What did you
I'm
think?
able to.
What do you think about the like some people are worried about the legitimacy of the lift, and you talked about briefly there how that really shouldn't be in question, but I think Eddie Hall has taken exception to it. A lot of people in strongman have taken exception to it. Some people are like, this is not good for our sport. They're really connected to this record, and they feel that maybe in some way that this particular competition or this particular lift won't be legitimate. What are your thoughts on that?
All the plates are going to be live streamed and weighed on the spot. I've honestly never seen that be done before. It's going to be live streamed on ESPN. This specific lift has been, talked about more than any other, competition or lift in strongman since it started. In at least what I've noticed, it's getting a huge attention. How is that bad for the sport? How is I think we are going in the right direction. Live streaming stuff, bringing it fresh to the people. Of course, these conditions aren't controlled by me. I can control COVID-19. And I think, it's more like a personal towards Eddie. I think, 500 kilogram is the deadlift is like a legacy for him. He won the World's Strongest Man, and then he took that record. And those two things mean a lot to him. And he doesn't want to lose that record. And I think he just believes that I'm capable of breaking it. He wants to drag it more he's not willing to let me have it already. That's why he's like not so happy about it.
Yeah, when we had Eddie Hall on not too long ago, he admitted on air that he's like, yeah, Thor is stronger than me. However, I don't know if he has the mindset to even get there. How much emphasis do you put on something like that? And have you been doing any kind of like psychology or any kind of like mindset techniques or anything like that?
I honestly, I find that a little bit like, I won't say laughable that he thinks I don't have the mindset for it. I literally won every single strongman competition there is to win in strongman, at least the big ones, and few of them, many times. I've been on the podium on the World Strongman since 2012. I don't think a lot of people can say that. I've won the Arnold Classic 3 times in a row. There's actually only one other person in the world that has done that, one that showed 3 times in a row. Zaragoza, one of the greatest of all time. So for him to say that is, I don't know, it's just, to me, it's laughable, that's all.
Along with that, on Twitch the other day, you said that not only would you be able to pull 501, but you mentioned 520. Now, like, do you feel that 501 is in the tank and that you have the capacity to also be able to pull 520 too? Has your training been going that well? Because that 470 you did was crazy.
Yeah, it felt extremely light, to be honest with you. I truly believe that I'm capable of more than 501. I honestly believe I'm capable of 520. And I told my, I just started stream not so long, tweets, not so long ago. I'm streaming there to new audience. And I told them, if I can get my Twitch account up to 200,000 followers, I will deadlift 520 kilograms, which is not 520 kilograms. Didn't I say that? Yeah, 520 kilograms, which in my opinion is not, I think you can reach that. I want to, involve the people in this well, bring more attention to it because, I believe I can pull more and, I want to, this is, I want to set myself goals, high goals, and I truly believe that I'm capable of pulling more than 501.
Has the 470 been the most you've lifted in the gym thus far?
The most I've lifted in the gym is 480 kilograms. I did that a few weeks before the Arnolds, but that was, of course, on an elephant bar. But, with a regular bar, I've pulled 470. And when you've been in the sport for more than a decade, you start to learn how your body works. You start to learn how to peak. And I also work with a lot of great people. My coach, Australian strength coach, I work with him. I've been working with him for few years now. And then Stan Efferting, my nutrition coach, working with him as well for a few years. So having these two great minds with me to help me succeed to this high level, it makes things, what can I say, easier,
Do any of those guys that support you, are they giving you a little bit of advice on kind of how to handle the extra noise? I mean, it seems like Eddie Hall's like pretty frustrated. It seems like he's kind of the guy out in front, shouting that he doesn't think that this is right. Are those, some of the guys close to you, some of the people close to you saying, hey man, don't worry about it? Or is it maybe something that you'll use more as like fuel to help you break this record?
I use it more as fuel. These people know me and they know I'm stronger than letting, some words bother me. I've been through more shit than that. It's a couple of words from people are not going to put me down. I've been through, more than that. So it doesn't bother me. It just like, it gives me more motivation to go even, further.
a lot of people recently just watched the ESPN documentary, The Last Dance. What a lot of people are learning is that Michael Jordan was not the friendliest person on or off the court. You know, he was so, he's just a big competitor. Do you think that you will be branded as that person? Because, you know, we see a lot of other strongmen that are, you know, they're making videos together, but nobody's really necessarily reaching out to you to do these same things. Are you okay kind of being the like the heel of the sport?
I highly disagree with you. I've actually done a lot of collaboration with other strongmen. The only one I haven't really collabed with is at the hall, and maybe like his close circle. But all the other guys, I actually talk to, you know, quite often. So I don't even know how to answer that.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe what Andrew might be referring to is also, you know, there's the TV show that was done by the History Channel.
I fucking love that. That like that documentary film is great. And you know, Michael Jordan, he's a legend. You know that guy had such a strong mind at such a young age, and you know he's, you know, I mean, when you are that competitive, of course, you know, some people are not gonna like you. That's always gonna, and when you get to certain points of like when you get to the, you know, this level, there's always gonna be people that don't like you, and that's okay. You are in this by yourself. You know, you're not doing this for others. You know, if some people don't like you, that's fine. You're doing this for yourself.
Thor, how have you adopted such a strong mindset? Because I've talked to you years ago, and even years ago, you were still on top and you were still kicking everybody's ass. You're still doing really well. But we had a conversation, and you mentioned that you've dealt with some depression and some anxiety, and you went through some tough times. But I don't, you know, I don't know you. I don't hang out with you every day or anything like that. But I don't see that. I don't see an ounce of that in you anymore. Have you kind of slayed that dragon?
I mean, I'm a happily married man. I found the most beautiful wife in the world. She's Canadian. We are had to you know mention that. No, just joking. But we are expecting our first child together, baby boy. So you know, life is going great for me. I'm super blessed, super happy. So small, you know, talks that doesn't bother me. You know, I'm extremely happy man. Things are going great for me in life. You know, check this out. Mark Bell text me, that legend. He wants me to be on his podcast. That's just like life is going great, guys.
I'm curious to know, from like in the past when you've attempted heavy deadlifts to now. I know you have, like, you're working with Stan, you're working with Sebastian. Has the big change been the people you're working with, or has there been any change with like how big you are now versus how big you were then? Like, what are some of the biggest factors for you being able to pull so heavy currently?
I think it's time, you know, time, experience, you know. You obviously it takes time to build. If you want to do this the healthy way, you have to build up slowly, you know. And I've been in this for more than a decade now. I'm still healthy. I'm still going, you know. There are people out there that, you know, want to take the shortcut, go all in, and then risk their health, and then they might be out after that, and then they have to retire. Look at Citron Savicas, you know, he competed for, I don't want to say like almost 3 decades. That's insane. Like, if anyone tells me that he is not the strongest man that has ever lived, like, you are like, to me, you're not a fan of the sport. You should know better.
Yeah, and to be able to do it that long, it requires you to gain a lot of weight for competition so that you can handle whatever is going on in competition. On top of having the extra weight, you also have to be in really good shape. But then you have to be smart after every competition and drop some weight. I know that you go up and down quite a bit, and you do build up slowly, which I think is really smart. Is the Rhino helping you with that? And what does your diet look like when you're going up and down like that?
So I follow like, I follow the stand everything diet, the Western diet. I eat, very consistent, the same food, steak and rice, carrots, peppers. I put chicken stock in my meals. I put extra, dextrose, butter when I'm trying to get heavier, and then I might cheat more often when I'm like trying to do crazy things like this. But overall, I'm very consistent. When I'm off season, I just decrease the rice. I eat more maybe vegetables. But everything is the same. I don't change anything to really. I just eat less carbs. That's all, guys. It's very simple. It's all about, it's that's the thing. So many people think there are so many secrets to success. They think he must be taking triple the X of creatine to become this strong. No, that's not the case. I actually, it's just being consistent, guys. Being consistent year after year, and hard work. I've said this many times before. But not many people are willing to put in the work. When I was 20 years old, I decided to block a lot of people out of my life. I sacrificed a lot of things because I want to be good in strongman. I didn't go for parties. I didn't stay out late. I just when I trained, I ate my meals. I did anything to get better. I remember when I first started competing, I had maybe $200 in my bank account, and I saw this machine gun, like a massage gun online, and I was just like, "Whoa, that thing looks great! I bet I would get like 10 times stronger if I buy that. If I can just massage myself, treat myself, in the evenings, and recover, I would get better." That gun at the time cost like $150. I bought it. I had $50 left on the bank card. But that's what I did. I always invest in myself, and I got better year after year. It's just hard work, guys. Nothing else. If you ask people around me how I am, I'm literally obsessed when it comes to being successful. One of the things that my wife told me today, which I was very proud of hearing, was that she said that I had similar mindset like MJ, Michael Jordan. I was shocked. I was like, wow, really? Because I look up to that guy. I think he's amazing. The guy is a beast. His mindset was so strong, it like inspires me. And my wife is telling me that I have similar mindset like him. It's like, whoa, it's mind-blowing. It makes me proud.
You should be proud for sure. Is any of this forced? Like, do you have to force yourself to really do much of these things? Or is it like, no, you know what, this is the goal and I'm going after it with everything I got, and I'm just going to be a robot and I'm just going to get it done?
Actually, it's not so much, no, it's not forced. I'm just self-motivated person, very driven. I just really, really badly want to succeed. That's it. I think that some people are born with it. You look at, like, I'm mentioning basketball players because I'm like, I played basketball when I was younger. Look at Kobe Bryant. His mindset was insane at a young age. There's just some people in life that find something at a young age that they truly love, and they put all their minds and effort into that. There were a couple of things in my life that did distract me. For example, Game of Thrones. I've been on the podium since 2012. I believe I learned and I got better every single year. But Game of Thrones made things a little bit more difficult for me. All that filming, all that traveling, all the time. Who knows? If I wouldn't have gotten that part, with all that filming, with all that traveling, back and forth, maybe I would have won World Superman more often. Who knows? I don't know. Like, all I know is that, it was very difficult at times, very difficult.
Do you feel like right now, especially with how you're progressing in strongman, you mentioned that there's a longevity aspect to it. How long more do you expect to be competing, or how long more do you feel that you can, how many more wins do you want to get before you retire? Let me just ask that.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm at the point in my life that I'm unsure. I'm not really sure. I would love if, World Strongman would do things differently, I feel like their athletes are not put in first place. Their athletes are probably put in like 10th place, which for me is a little bit like off for me. So I'm not really sure at this point,
I understand. I've felt that way for a long time about strongman, and I don't even really know a ton about the sport. I've just been a fan of it. But in watching it, I've always kind of wished that they would change the events up a little bit more, make it just a little bit more athletic so that you guys don't have to be, 400 plus pounds. It's just, it just can't be super healthy. And it would be more fun as a fan to watch somebody carry something a little further distance. It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around. Like, I don't know what like someone might not know what an 1,800-pound yoke would feel like. And then you see the guys not carrying it that far because it's so damn heavy. It's impossible to carry it far. It's like, it would be kind of neat to watch them race, 50 yards with it or something like that. Is that, are those some of the different things you'd like to see? Maybe they add in just a flair or touch of athleticism, or what are you speaking about?
What I would love to see different with World Strongman is more community to the athletes. The athletes. This is my experience with World Strongman. Some athletes might get to know the events before others, and then athletes find events out through athletes. And to me, that's completely BS. That's unfair to other athletes. And then, for example, they might not invite some strong guys because of politics, because of someone didn't like this guy or whatever. I don't know. It's just like some things in World Strongman needs to be changed. That's just how it is. I would love if they would try to live stream it. Doing this TV show. It's just 2020, guys. Things have to be live streamed nowadays, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Probably a lot of people disagree with me, but in my opinion, I think it should be at least shown. I don't know, much faster. Yeah, and there are a lot of other factors that I don't want to go deep into. But there are things that could be done much better. Athletes find out locations when the competition is being held online, and fans find it out before athletes, which to me is ridiculous as well. So it's just a couple of these things. And then they might misload some of the equipment, which is like, that can happen at World Strongman. It's supposed to be World Strongman. It's just a lot of things that, I wish would change, which would be done better. Yeah.
Do they have does Strongman have like a committee at all? Because it seems like that would make a lot of sense to have like a players committee, something along those lines.
Committee? Sorry, this is where my English is.
Yeah. So your English is great. Do they have anything where you guys get to speak your piece about like what strongman should look like, or even legendary strongman guys? Are they able to voice their opinion and say, hey, like this is wrong, we should change some of these things?
I mean, there are people involved that, have voices and they can speak their opinions, but athletes, not so much.
When you break this record, do you think that'll cement you as the strongest man ever?
No, Sigurðsson Vikas is still the GOAT. He won Arnold Classic 8 times, World Strongman 4 times. Having a record in one lift doesn't make you the strongest person ever.
In your mind, what makes Zydrunas Savickas the strongest? You mentioned the 8 titles. I think he won the world's strongest man as well 4 times. But what was it about his game Like, was he just didn't have a weak point, or how did you see it?
For me, it's the titles that he has won, and also how long he stayed like at the top. You know, he was at the top for more than 2 decades. You know, it's, you know, anyone that is, you know, knows a lot about strongman should all agree that, you know, Zaragoza is the strongest man ever. If you disagree, you know, I don't know. That's just laughable to me.
Are there any other records other than the deadlift record that you're trying to break? Because there's a lot of different strongman records out there, and I believe that you're strong enough to probably hit up others. Are there others that you have your eye on other than this?
So I've always been into winning titles. That's always been, you know, it's like if you watch the documentary film about MJ, he was always about winning games. There was nothing else mattered to him. He wanted to just win the games, you know, win the championships, you know. For me, you know, I want to win the titles, you know, because that lasts forever. Records are always being broken. Yeah, it's good to have a record. And, you know, one of the reasons why I'm trying for this record is because a strange thing is, you know, these records are getting more attention than the titles. I think it should be the opposite.
What are 2 things that have really changed your deadlift and improved your deadlift over the last maybe 3 or 4 years?
Being consistent, hard work, and hot and cold treatments.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hot and cold treatment. That's done a lot for you. Do you
Very,
do that?
very, very simple, very effective, guys.
You do that every day?
Almost every day. You know, right now, yeah, I've been doing it a lot. I'm actually extremely heavy now. I'm 200. You probably hear my breath a lot. I'm 206 kilograms right now. That's probably at the heaviest I've been. But you know, I feel like, of course, I don't need any, you know, endurance for this lift. You know, I'm only doing 3, maximum 4 lifts on a day. You know, so for me, you know, the extra weight might help me, possibly will. You know, so I'm just trying to be as strong as possible. You know, I've been focusing a lot on the deadlift. You know, and doing less of it. I'm still like lifting decent numbers in the other things, but I'm like really, really focusing on deadlift.
Has there been any sort of assistance exercise or anything in particular that's helped you stay healthy enough to be able to continue to deadlift like this? Because hamstrings and a lot of things, your lower back. How have you? You mentioned the hot and cold therapy being big, but is there like an assistance movement or a couple of movements that you've been doing that you really think have made a big difference?
So one of the biggest exercises, you know, and I want you guys to listen very, very well, because this is a big secret for strong back. Okay, if you guys do this, you'll get a very, very strong back, and it starts with D, deadlift.
That seems too complicated. So to increase the deadlift, you deadlift.
It might sound complicated, guys, but just try it for a couple of years, and you probably will improve.
That's amazing. A handful of people have been talking about like the addition of ESPN streaming it, like the added pressure. Are you feeling any pressure with ESPN coming on board to live stream this?
No, not at all. I'm just excited for the sport. I'm excited for the attention the sport is getting, and hopefully it keeps hopefully the sport keeps getting the attention it deserves. This sport is great. The athletes are great. The athletes deserve more. Yeah, I just really want to see the sport grow. That's all.
Thor, you have a record of the weight being thrown over the bar. What if somebody was to break that record, you know, in their own gym or out of competition? You know, what would your thoughts be on that?
I would love it. I would love it, man. I would just be so happy for that person. You know, if it's done involved in a federation, they have a referee. I would just like be very happy for them. Like I would just support that guy. Well done, champ. You're the champ. That's all.
I'm curious about this too, because we were talking about this in the last podcast. When you break this record, because you've been looking amazing, if potentially they end up saying you broke the record, but since it wasn't in competition, it's unofficial, would that make you feel differently about it? Or would you still be just as happy about breaking it and then you just break it officially later on?
It's unsafe. It's involved Ultimate Strongman. I'm doing it as official as it gets. If you guys are so confident that this is so easy, I challenge you guys to go tomorrow or whenever you guys are ready and deadlift 501. I doubt there's many people that can do it. I think no one probably except me. And of course, I did it back in 2016. People like people think it's easier in the gym. How is it easier? It's the same weight, guys. Like, yeah, I'm not traveling, but so did not Eddie. Yeah, I'm using the plates that I use in the bar. Same did Eddie. There's no really difference here. I would perform the same way in my gym as in a competition. If some people want to say it's unofficial, it doesn't bother me. That's fine. Say that. If Eddie want to still say that he has the world record with 500 kilograms when I break it, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I'm doing this for myself. That's all. And whatever people think, it doesn't bother me. This is all done for myself.
Did it bother you at all when Eddie Hall talked about your team? Because I know for myself, I don't care. Like people make comments about me all the time, and I'm in the limelight. I put myself there. But when people start talking about my friends and my team and people around me, I can't help but have that affect me a little bit.
Of course, when he crossed the line many times. When he spoke about my family. And even my wife and unborn child, those are the things that I really start to hate the guy. I don't really hate people, but that's just too far. You like, what are you, 8-year-old? Like, come on, leave my family out of it, man. It's between me and you. Be a man, man. Don't bring my wife and unborn child into this. This is just BS, man. Grow up.
How far along is your wife right now?
She is 16 weeks and a few days, actually. 16 weeks and 3 days, babe. Almost 17 weeks, guys. Time flies.
Are you excited?
I'm super excited, guys. I'm so excited. I'm ready to become a dad again. I have a daughter from past relationship that me and her mom don't get along, and she's been trying. That's one of the things that got me depressed a lot. She's been trying to keep my daughter away from me for many years, and that's been very difficult for me. So when I say that, some words doesn't bother me, and I've dealt with much more difficult things. I've been fighting to see my daughter for years, actually, with many lawyers, a lot of team. But world is just sometimes unfair, guys.
Yeah. Do you guys know the gender of the baby? I don't even know if you can check at this.
We do
time.
actually. We do actually. What is it called, babe? That we can do that gives us the non-invasive prenatal test. Yeah. Yeah, it's a genetic test through the blood. So we were able to see the gender soon, and we are expecting a baby boy. I have a beautiful daughter. She's 11 years old. Her name is Tessa Liv. Lives in Denmark. And we're expecting a boy now.
What is the tradition with the names in Iceland? Because sometimes we see the same name being used. Sometimes like seeing some of the CrossFit champions that are Icelandic and stuff, and seeing some of the last names look similar. Like how does it work?
Are you talking about the daughters and sons and stuff?
Yes, yes.
So, for example, my name is Hafthor. My son would be Hafthor's son. If I have a daughter, her name is Hafthor's dóttir. Hafthor's dóttir, which is like daughter. So they basically just take our first name and we add like son or daughter to it.
I like that. That's simple enough. Eddie Hall had a question, and he wanted to know. He wanted to know why, he thinks that you selected the judge. I have no idea whether you did or not, but he calls into question.
He thinks a lot of things.
He calls into question the referee that you're using. He said that you at some other point said that this referee was corrupt in 2017. So what are your thoughts there?
Why does the guy keep mentioning 2017? He should stop mentioning that, because soon people will figure out the truth. I recommend you stop mentioning 2017, because it's not going to look good for you in the end, man. That's all I gotta say. Eddie, if you're listening, I would just move forward, man. It's between me and you. If you wanna call me, feel free to call me. We can talk. Yeah, I'm done with this, arguing online shit.
What does your training look like coming up? Because I think you have to still, run through the finish line, but you also have to be careful here. So are you lifting at all coming up?
Yeah, I'm still training, just getting the blood, through the body. I train today. I'll rest tomorrow, and I train the day after that. Just light work, basically. I did 200 kilogram squats today, 2 sets, 2 reps. Very difficult.
That's something that everyone listening can follow along with. We can work out with you during quarantine, right?
Yeah. Just
booty band exercises.
Yeah, just simple things. Just getting some blood in the muscles. Nothing too crazy. Just staying healthy, staying good.
You mentioned because I asked you about how many more strongman competitions you want to try and like world strongest man you want to try to get. You said you weren't sure about that, but what other goals outside of strongman do you have? Because you've been the Mountain in Game of Thrones. Obviously, like probably a bunch of shows would want you to act, but like what else outside of the sport do you want to be able to do and achieve? Has there been anything on your mind?
I like to focus on one thing at a time. I've won, Euro Strongman 5 times. I've won the Arnold, like I said, 3 times. I've been on the podium at the World Strongman since 2012. I won it back in 2018. There are, nothing on my mind right now. I don't like to get distracted with other big of a goals like that. Right now my goal is 501, and nothing else is gonna distract me. So I that's maybe another thing that people do wrong. They have too many big goals going on, and they get distracted, and then they might not reach their goals. It's okay to think about things and write things down and have them in your mind, but don't get too much caught up with too many goals at the same time, especially not these big goals. That's at least just my opinion. That's how I've done things in my life. Yeah.
It seems like you do a great job of in kind of quote unquote living in the moment, and I think that's not enough people are practicing that. How did that come to be? How are you able to do that?
That's a good question. I think I'm just gifted. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you're not too worried or concerned about like stuff in the past. You're not letting that bug you, and things that haven't happened yet. You're like, I don't really know.
Well,
You're just working
I'll tell you
day to
this
day.
thing. I'll tell you this thing. We can't control the past. The past is already, we can't control it. It's if you're gonna be in your past, it's just gonna make you miserable, because we all goes to ups and downs, and usually people think about their downs more than their ups. That's just how life works. So why stay in the past? that's not going to get you anywhere. I only see forward. I have high goals for myself, and I only see forward, and I drive forward every single day. I push hard every single day, no matter what. I just try to be the best man I can be, best father I can be, best husband I can be, best athlete I can be. I try to treat people as, well as my knowledge has, and that's it. You only can do as good as you can. And if you try to better yourself every single day, you will get better.
I know on your, when you said you were going to do 520, it was to gain some attention on your Twitch stream. But is it important for you to break the record by more than 1 kilo, or are you okay with that?
To me, it's important, like I said, I'm doing this for myself. I'm happy with 501. Like I said, titles are more important to me than records. But, like I said before as well, records are getting more attention. And that's why I set myself a goal. Well, I'm gonna deadlift 501. Why only 1 kilogram more? Because it just I don't have a reason to do more. Unless let's you know what, guys? I'm gonna set myself a new goal here live right now. Because Mark Bell has so many subscribers and he's so well known in this world. If I get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I will deadlift 530 kilograms. How about that, guys? How about that?
Let's make it happen. Come on now.
Guys, let's go.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite meals? You were mentioning that at this time you're allowed to have a little cheat meal here and there. So what are some of your favorite things to eat?
My cheat meal would be high carb meal, for example, a pizza. But I always eat my meals though. I eat my steak and rice. But for example, yesterday I had a buddy of mine over. I ate my steak and egg, and then half an hour later I ordered a pizza, and I ate the whole pizza. And an hour and a half later, I had another meal. And this is how I get heavier, guys.
Is that difficult at all, or do you kind of do you enjoy throwing down that amount of food?
I get excited when pizza comes to my door. That's going down. That's going down.
I know a few years ago, your the side of your face was kind of numb. I think you suffered from some Bell's palsy, and you mentioned how it was kind of difficult to eat because it was so hard to chew all the time. But it looks like that's cleared up. Are you doing okay with that?
Yeah, it's cleared up quite well actually. I still have to get better though. I have some nerve damage still in my right cheek.
Is that from lifting?
It just happened one day. I was actually going through a lot of stress during that time. That was the time when, when the mother of my child explained to me that I would all of a sudden not see my daughter again. And I felt like the world was just collapsing, and everything just went against me. And I think just the stress, because I was fighting to see my daughter. I did everything I could. I was trying to, text her. I was blocked. All my family got blocked, kicked off, everything just is in lockdown. I got, myself lawyers tried to fix things. But it didn't work. And just imagine, guys, if you had kids and you get to see them, you get to interact with them, call them, speak to them, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, everything is taken away. Your life is taken away. You just collapse,
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. I don't want to take up any more of your time. We're super excited. We're rooting for you. Hope you get the record. Hope everything works out the way that you want it. And congratulations on the new baby. Keep everybody over there safe for us, huh?
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much, man.
all the best to you guys.
Thank you.
And peace and love to all my fans, guys. I love you guys.
Catch you later, Mountain.
See you.
Catch you later, man.
Thanks again.
Take care. Bye, guys.
Oh my God.
Damn.
5:30. So 5:01, then 5:30.
Yeah, we got to get him. I mean, he said 1 million.
Yeah.
I think so.
We could do that.
Hey guys, get him to 1 million so we can get that 5:30. Because honestly, I don't think he's just saying that. I really believe that he can do it.
Yeah, go over there.
Why-
And
why wouldn't he?
subscribe. Why not? Call his bluff. Man, there's a guy who knows a lot about himself, huh?
Dude.
Like, isn't it amazing? We talk to these people, and these men and women that we have on the podcast are always known for like these feats. They're known for like what they do. But then, like, to me, I'm sitting there listening to this. I'm like, this guy is brilliant. Like, man, he has a really high level of intelligence and knowledge about himself that I feel like a lot of times other people may never get to. Like, he's really discovered a lot about himself. He had to go through a bunch of different things, but that's awesome to know all that stuff.
Simplest thing. What's the next goals that you want to achieve? I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about this one thing. I don't think about too many things at once because I'll get too distracted. If all of us just kind of use that, so many people would just pummel stuff that they want to do.
Yeah, how many of us are like, we were in the middle of reading one book and then we're like, oh, check out that book. Oh, but wait, check out that book. Or we see somebody pop online, they got a great physique. We're like, oh, I'm going to try that diet. Wait, I'm going to try that. Oh, wait, what about this one? I'm going to try this strength program. That looks really cool. Oh, I want to do bodybuilding. Oh, wait, well, what about CrossFit? Right? And you end up trying all different kinds of stuff and you end up not really getting anywhere.
Yeah, like I said on the previous podcast before we did this, I mean, he goes on the Mount Rushmore. Like basketball, it's going to be Jordan. Strength sports is going to be Hafthor. Especially when you put in, like, when you like get to know who he is in this mindset, dude, like, it's amazing.
How much did he say he weighed?
206 kilos. What is that in pounds?
I'm not the person to ask.
40?
Maybe someone in the chat room can answer that for us.
I feel like that's like 440. They'll let us know.
That's a big boy. He's probably going to gain some steam too coming into it. He's probably going to gain. He'll probably be 210 or 208.
Boy.
Gain some steam. I like that.
And I mean, it just seems like it just doesn't matter. Seems like it doesn't matter whether he makes it or doesn't make it because he's going to get the lift.
Yeah.
Like maybe not on this ESPN live stream, maybe not at this very moment, but he will get that record. He will make it happen.
What I love is because, like, we were just talking to Ross Edgley, right? He's doing this for himself. He's not doing it for anybody else. It's not an external thing. This is all internal. And that's why I'm like, oh, okay, it's almost like a foregone conclusion. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just going to do it for himself.
It makes so much more sense because you're like, why would Ross Edgley hurt himself so much with these swims and these runs and stuff? But he's not looking to his left. He's not looking to his right. He's not looking ahead at anybody else. He's not looking behind him. He's focused and honed in 100% on what he's interested in. And then, asking Thor, like, hey, is any of this forced? That's why I asked him that, because I'm kind of fascinated by this idea of, like, it's as simple as finding something that you're super interested in. And his interest is not waning. And he's so interested in increasing the deadlift that he just continually deadlifts all the time, regardless of some of the factors that can happen when you deadlift off in your back, your hands, your lower back, your hamstring and so on.
Yeah. 453 pounds.
Damn, dude.
And he's jacked, dude. That's what's so
Thor
scary.
looks like a massive bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's really not. Yeah, he's not. I mean, he could be super lean in a real short period of time. I mean, I've seen him with abs before and stuff like that. He's amazing. He's always been so gracious with his time. And then he answered all those questions so direct. Like, I feel like I can just sometimes we have certain guests I out of respect, I don't want to ask too much stuff, but I feel like I could ask that guy anything. I asked him about his Bell's palsy. I asked him about his kids, and it just feels like nothing's off limits because he's just going to answer it straight up.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if I could reformulate the question that I had asked him, it would be more like the Mamba mentality, right? Like, he wasn't really making friends while he's in the middle of competing because he is so hyper focused on that goal. And then he kind of went back and he actually said that, like, yeah, being compared to MJ because of the mindset. So I'm like, that's kind of what I was asking. I just asked it wrong.
He's a little isolated, you know. I think he's a little. I see what you're talking about, and he might not feel that because he's got a lot of good people around him. But, you know, I was about to kind of talk to him about the History Channel show. You know, the History Channel show. He wasn't on it. He wasn't part of it, and so you're like, well, that's weird. Like, why wouldn't the current world's strongest man, you know, be on there and things like that? But it could just have to do with his location. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons, but it doesn't seem like he doesn't feel that way because I don't think he cares.
Oh, that's so great.
Right?
Just
He didn't even notice.
I have to
Hey,
love that, dude. That's
why aren't
so
you
good.
playing with the other kids? You're like, huh? There's other kids here, you know, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, I was over here playing, you know, doing my own thing.
One thing I really like, though, because every time I've heard Thor talk about these attempts, he never uses the word attempt. And I don't think that's because of his English or anything. He says, I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull 530. He's never, I'll attempt 530. That's never a thing, because I'm pretty sure that in his mind, he's going to fucking get it either way.
Yeah, he never said, like, I'm going to give it a go or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
So matter of fact,
he convinced us. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Obviously, that it's an all-time world record for a reason. So him actually hitting the lift and, you know, nailing it on that day is going to be very specific to his training and everything that he's done leading up to it.
Man, yeah. Big time fan now. That was so cool. Thanks for setting that up, Mark.
I'm fired up, man. I you know, like, almost had nothing else to say after he called me a legend. I was like, what what is this about? You know, like, man, the accomplishments that he's had and the titles that he's won. And I mean, it's just, he still might just be kind of getting rolling. You know, who knows what he's capable of.
And again, like, you know, I know followers and stuff, that's not all that matters, but he has like 3 million on Instagram. His Twitch is growing. He's been on a big TV show. This is going to be on ESPN. I know there's a bunch of strongmen that are saying that this isn't good for the sport, but if you look at all, like, from an outsider looking in, I don't see how this could be bad for a sport. You know, like,
he has the opportunity to be like the Andre the Giant of, like, strongman, you know, like, you know, many years ago when Andre the Giant was a professional wrestler. Obviously Hulk Hogan, you know, was a huge part, and he kind of helped put wrestling on the map. But part of the reason why Hogan was so big and such a big deal was because Andre the Giant was there. I mean, he was a big draw. But just imagine you have this kind of like walking giant, 6'10", 450-pound billboard that represents your sport all the time, who has you know, who is kind, who is open, who's transparent. I just think it's great. Like, I don't think there's anything negative coming from it. I do understand the other side. I understand people being frustrated with, hey man, you can't just go and do that shit in your garage. But people have been saying that about stuff for many years. Like, I don't think people thought you could work from home, but you certainly can. Like, why not? You can do your job from home. I could do my job from home. Why can't he do his job from home?
I can do my job from your home for sure.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then also, just to kind of be like playing devil's advocate, I'm wondering if other strongmen are concerned that this might set a precedent for other strongmen to set up the perfect scenario to break another record. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think that I think that it probably just wouldn't, like, it sounds like to me, it sounds like he's got all the stuff in place for it to actually be sanctioned. So it's not a regular competition, because I think it's party of one. I mean, if I was him, I would just tell my buddy to lift the bar, and then it's a competition. You know, somebody else lifted something, and there's a first and second place winner, I guess. But, like, I just think it's irrelevant. We're just in some different times, and people are going to have to get used to stuff like that, because it could potentially happen in other sports. I mean, they were talking about with basketball, they were talking about, like, playing horse. I don't know if you guys saw that, but, like,
yeah, I have seen that. They actually did that.
Yeah, they've done that with some of the NBA players, and I think you can kind of play along at home or something. I forgot how it worked, but there's gonna be a lot of weird shit happening, because you can't really pack the stands the way they used to, and who knows what will happen moving forward. But I think with our technology and different things, I think you're going to see some of this stuff. You're going to see more of this stuff in the future for sure. 100%.
Yeah. What do you guys think is going through Eddie's mind, especially when, you know, he was saying that it was laughable that, you know, the mindset was really that important?
Yeah, no, I thought that I thought that was great. I thought that, so, you know, if you're to try to think about your feelings, right? Like you try to think about somebody says something to you, and then you start to feel a certain way, and you try to interpret why you felt that way. So somebody says, okay, Eddie Hall actually knows Thor, right? They know each other. So how it's like if you said to me, you know, you don't have what it takes to bench 500 pounds again. I would just be like, that's ridiculous. You saw me bench 500 pounds a bunch of times. Like, we know each other. You've seen me lift. You've seen me do it. Like, I've done the lift in front of you several times. So I think to him, he's just thinking, wow, that's actually like kind of funny. Like, that's the only way he can think about it. The other thing is he can take that information and use it to be like a negative and to be like a weight on him. And he can say, how dare you say that about me? I can't believe you would say something like that to me. Like, why? Like, and allow it to hurt him, and allow it to like kind of hurt his feelings. Like, you don't think I have the mental toughness to do that? And then it just blows up. It like implodes. It doesn't, it's not as effective. Now you can also take that information. You can say, you know what, when the time's right, I'm going to take those words and I'm going to shove them right down your throat, you know, and you can kind of make people, you know, you can make people eat their words. And those are things like I've lived off of stuff like that forever. I love stuff like that. It's great. It's like, oh, that guy said that about me. And then I hold on to it, you know, but it is a little dangerous because it does carry some weight to it. You're better off being like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think I can run this podcast? That's actually really funny because I've been into music. I've been into technology. I've been in all this shit forever. And this is as simple as me clicking on a couple YouTube videos to figure out. Obviously it takes more than that, but you get my point to get started, right?
Yeah. I already crossed their names off. I'm like,
right.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, is there anyone have any doubt, like even in the live chat room, any doubt that he's not going to do this or that he's going to do this?
No, and honestly, I like in the podcast we did with Eddie, I think he said Thor is strong enough.
Yeah, he did.
But like you said, he doesn't think he has the mindset to do it. So
well, he didn't say that he doesn't think he does. He just wasn't sure.
He wasn't sure.
Yeah, he's like, does he have the mindset? Who knows?
Like, this is an interesting thing because I think a majority of people are really like backing this dude. A majority of people believe that he can do it, and primarily, I think the people believe that Thor can do it because Eddie did 500. Because when you remember when Eddie was doing the 500, no one thought Eddie would be able to do it because it's 30 kilos above the record. That's ridiculous. But now that we've seen 500 and we see Thor, we're like, yeah, Thor can do it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the belief that he's getting right now is kind of paved because of Eddie Hall.
Oh, 100%. And he's going to do it because of Eddie Hall, one way or the other, kind of, you know, like whether it's in spite of Eddie Hall or whether it's because Eddie Hall set the bar there, you know, I'm super excited for it. I think it's awesome. And the way he was talking about some of those bigger weights, the 520 and the 530, I mean, really starting to get into, you know, some astronomical weight. But I think what allows Thor to say that it's laughable, I think, is also the amount of work that he's put in and the amount of victories that he's piled up. So if let's say that he hasn't won a championship, let's say that he's never broken a record, and let's say that a couple of times when the game was on the line, he lost. There's a few shots of, well, there's more than one example, but there's an example of head-to-head Eddie Hall and Hafthor Bjornsson going at it, doing stone loading, and boom, 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 they're neck and neck, and they're going at it, and they're super close, and you're like, holy shit, both these guys are strong, and you know which guy has the advantage with the heavier stones, and you're like, holy crap, this is getting to be really cool. They start out and they set out the lightest weight on the highest thing, and you realize, okay, Eddie's shorter, and so it's going to be really interesting to watch how it plays out. But just methodical, consistent, setting them up, boom, 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 not over and not anticipating what the other guy is doing, all the stuff he talked about, not worrying about what someone else is doing, focused on himself. Thor picks up the second to last stone, sets it in there perfectly. Eddie Hall's trying to go a little bit faster to try to gain a little ground, and his ball kind of rolls around, and there Thor is, loading the last one on, and he beats him just by a few seconds. And those things can go, one way or the other, but that's a testament of like, no, that guy's got, that guy clearly has the mindset to do it. And, I think I've been kind of talking about this a little bit more recently, where I think that, mental toughness is a little bit of a misconception. I think that it's have you done your homework is more of what it's about. Have you continually sent your body, your body, mind, and spirit? Have you continually set it the right message? Have you sent it the right message over and over and over and over again, so that when the chips are down and it's time to party and it's time to really make sure that this thing happens, whatever it is that you did, that it happens, that does not have a lot to do with me being like mentally tough. It has to do with me being prepared. You lay out this body of work, and this is like, I can't and I love jiu-jitsu as an example, because I can't out mental toughness. And Nsima, he's gonna tap me out, 50 times in 50 seconds, probably, right? Like, it's a skill. It's a skill acquisition. And yeah, your mind is definitely part of it, but it's you gaining the skill acquisition that tells your mind, fuck yeah, I'm going to be able to do this without any problem.
And that, what you just said there makes me think of like people to kind of, I guess, some people would try to play devil's advocate. That at the beginning, when they were getting to those stages, they were losing, but the more they ended up getting there, the more they ended up actually winning. And there's like a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys that lost at worlds or whatever, but after things clicked, now they're unbeatable. So that's the thing. It's being prepared, getting yourself there, maybe not being, victorious a few times, but then getting there enough where now you're prepared to actually win. That makes so much sense about the mental toughness thing, though.
Yeah, Jay Cutler getting second, I don't know how many times, and then what? 4 times.
Yep.
Yeah, the mental toughness is more about like just being able to like knock things down with facts. You're like, okay, wait a second, that fact came at me. He said I'd never win worlds. Let's see, hold on a second. So maybe if I continue to train the way I have been, maybe he's correct, because I only go to jiu-jitsu 3 times a week. And I'm banking on the fact that I think I'm genetically gifted. I don't lift weights. I'm not that you start to break it down, and you start to think like, okay, those are actual facts. And that's not even hurtful, because that's the truth, right? I know the truth can kind of hurt you, but again, that's not about your like mentality, your mental toughness. Now, I do understand there are some things that, if all 3 of us are like, running sprints or something, or we're lifting, and we encourage each other, you might get a little extra, say we're doing sets of 12 on squats, and on rep number 9, I yell for you. It might give you a little zip. It might give you a little boost, but that is so minor in comparison to the decade of training that happened before, all the things that you've put together beforehand. And those things, you don't see like a body of work kind of unraveled necessarily in like you don't see it unveiled, I should say, like in a repetition or in a set, unless it's like all out, all in competition, right? Unless it's like something really crazy where the intensity is through the roof. That's where you'll see it. And that's why I'm fascinated by CrossFit. I know, the talk about the race to 0 followers. We're really gonna have none when I talk about CrossFit. But when I watch Rich Froning and Matt Frazier and Colleen Foch and some of these amazing CrossFit athletes, I'm amazed by that part of it. Like, if you watch the documentary they did on Rich Froning, he's outside all the time when he's a kid. playing baseball, playing football, him and his friends challenging each other, like running, sprinting, jumping over stuff, building shit. And you see that when he wins 4 titles in the CrossFit Games, you see all that come out. You see all that unveiled, because now what is he doing? Oh, he's climbing a rope. Like how many kids grow up probably not even really climbing a rope at all, except for maybe in PE? He was probably climbing ropes all the time because he's like running around doing crazy shit all the time. He's been kind of prepped for that. So you could say, oh man, Rich Froning, man, he's super mentally tough, man. Did you see him on that rope climb? It's like he's prepared.
What I absolutely love about that is, somebody listening right now is like, well, shit, like I'm not mentally tough. It's like, just put points on the scoreboard for a couple of years in a row, and then you'll see.
Just like he said with the deadlift.
Yeah. How do you get a bigger deadlift? That was pretty dope. But yeah.
Just like you're saying, I'm so happy at those answers, because his answer wasn't like, oh shoot, this year I did this and I added these movements and then boom, it went up. Like the whole essence of what he was talking about was consistency and years of work. And I love hearing that from him, because that's not the thing people do like to hear. People like to hear, what are the things I can do right now so that I can skyrocket? And then he even went into the point that, yeah, I don't like it when people do things too fast. He literally said that. Like that's one thing to understand right there. Don't fucking try to go too fast. Don't try to improve too fast. It's a long game. This whole bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman thing is a long game. Treat it that way.
I think he's a genius, man. If you go back and listen to that podcast, I mean, I think you should go back and listen to that podcast and take some notes. I don't even know, like, if he studies like Stoic philosophy or looks at like Buddhism or anything, but you'll find all the things that he mentioned in there. They all are part of these philosophies and these things that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Man, it's cliche to say like live in the moment, but like there's a guy who's really truly embraced that. And it probably helps to have like a goal. I realize the goal is like, days out. I realize it's like it's in advance, but he's just doing what he can every single day, every single minute. And he's like literally in that moment. He's not really looking too far ahead. He's not looking behind, and I find it interesting, how you can build up so much anxiety over something that hasn't happened, and I think some of the definitions you'll hear sometimes for anxieties will say it's fear over things that haven't happened yet. But I don't even like to use the word yet, because I think yet is implying that you think it's going to happen, and you shouldn't think it's going to happen. Anxiety is fear over things that haven't happened, period. Right? So why? It's easy to say, right? Because then something happens, right? Something bad happens, and you're like, oh shit. Then your mind starts filtering through. Oh, well, what if this happens? That'll make it even worse. And what if that happens? That'll make it even worse. Anyway, what a brilliant podcast. The other thing he said was talking about how when you look back at the past, you most often are looking at the things that are shitty. And that was I was like, whoa, like, that's really true. Yeah, like we might talk about like, hey, remember when you benched that weight or something, right? There's a couple things, that you might, but we'll do that as a group to like pick each other up and to say something nice and have something fun and funny to talk about an old story. But when you do it with yourself, you're not like, yeah, that was badass. You know what I mean? It's always like, yeah, I really fucked that up. Yeah, I remember that. That was a rough time. And you just kind of go down that, what if that happens to me again? What if I do that again? And then you just your mind is off to the races in the wrong direction.
And how often when you're super anxious for something and you build up all this anxiety, how often is it like, oh, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend the other day, and because we were talking about kids, and he's just like, dude, you're building it up way too much. He's like, you're going to love it. So it's like, okay. But, talking about this, it was like, damn, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Cause yeah, it never, ever ends up being worse, right? You always make it the worst thing ever.
And sometimes you just say it's going to be bad, say it's going to be bad, say it's going to be bad. And then it ends up bad.
Yes,
and maybe just as bad. You will it into happening. Like it sounds kind of, people do that shit. You know,
Not Hafthor.
not Hafthor.
530 kilos. Everyone could see that if they just go over to Thor's YouTube and sign up. I'm going to make a post about it. I'm going to say, hey, go over there and sign up, because he said that he would do this 530 kilos, and then we could make a liar out of him. You know, if we go over there and we do it and the motherfucker misses it, we can be like, yo, dude, you need to pay up. Like, what was that about?
Yeah.
That's some bullshit, right?
I wonder if he'd feel pressure at that point. Probably not.
Nah, he probably doesn't feel anything after all that pizza that he keeps eating.
I love that he goes to pizza. That's my shit too.
I love that he didn't let anything be a challenge though. Like, he didn't like I've interviewed him a couple times now, and that his mindset has gotten better and better with how he deflects. You know, then that's where your mindset could come in, is how you're deflecting or how you're reframing what somebody's asking you. Hey, is the eating hard? Nope. Like, hey, is like, what, you know, what do you do for you? How do you build up to a deadlift like that? Like, I deadlift. Anything changed in the last couple of years? I do a hot and cold bath and I deadlift.
Yeah,
you know,
I bet you if we would have asked, like, have you tweaked anything in training? Nope.
I feel great. Like I said in the beginning, I feel great. That's probably what he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Thank you, everyone that checked out this live stream. Sincerely appreciate it. We do stuff like this all the damn time. Right now, this isn't our normal studio. If you guys never seen an episode before, we're actually at Mark's beach house here in Bodega Bay, California. Normally, we're in Westside, California. But with that said, we always have amazing guests. So if you guys can, please hit that subscribe button. We would sincerely appreciate it. And if you're finding this on iTunes, please drop us a rating and a review. And please follow us on Instagram at Mark Bell's Power Project, at MB Power Project on TikTok and Twitter. We're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the damn place. If you guys want to reach out to me, my Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. Nsima, where you at?
And Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Yin Yang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark?
Is Facebook going to be awake and YouTube going to be awake tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. for us to go live on those channels with Eddie Hall?
So 5 a.m. our time is 8 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm pretty sure Facebook and YouTube will be awake.
Maybe you got to call them up.
The guy is definitely not.
I know Zuck.
Okay.
Don't worry, I got this.
Okay, so I don't have to call the guy because the guy is
Zuckerberg.
Oh no. A lot of people don't get that reference, but hopefully they will.
It's just so funny the way that guy said that, right?
Yeah, that. And then also, for those that are catching this live, it is April 23rd. You have from today till tomorrow to save 15% off all home equipment at markbellslingshot.com. Don't let Mark cut me off. All slingshots, all hip circles, all apparel, and all sport knee sleeves are 15% off right now until tomorrow. So please jump on that right away.
Damn, dude, you're giving everything away.
Giving away all your money. Sorry.
Oh my God. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everyone said their thing, right? Everyone did their sign off. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch y'all later. Bye.
Where's my stop the stream?